If you're looking for some healthy meal ideas or you're just a little curious about what a dietitian actually eats, then you're in the right place. So in last month's favorites video, we also had a little 2K subscriber celebration for this channel, which is super exciting. And I asked you to let me know what kind of stuff you're liking on the channel, what you want to see more of, and I got some feedback that you're really digging the what I eat in a days and you'd like me to keep doing them frequently. So here we are, we're doing one for September. And this one is kind of interesting because I feel like once we get into September, people definitely start to get into fall mode. It's back to school. People want their pumpkin spice lattes. It's starting to get, going that way. But really, as far as what's available for me locally in Virginia, it's still a lot of summery stuff. We are getting a ton of tomatoes out of the garden. We're probably been at our peak tomato harvesting production time in September. So everything still has a lot of summer vibes as far as the actual food that I'm eating. And I'm not really going to get into fall stuff probably until October because that's just what's available for me where I am. Also, just a little heads up during the food portion of this video, I do mention a cookbook that I really like that does a good job of focusing on local foods and seasonal foods. So if that's something you're interested in and you want more info about it, make sure you stick around to the end when we come back here because I'm going to show it to you and give you a little bit more information on that. But with that said, let's hop right into the food.
So we're going to start things off with breakfast, and on this day I decided to have some eggs for breakfast. So these are local pasture raised eggs, which means the chickens were eating a good diet, bugs and stuff, what they're supposed to be eating, and I decided to have 3 eggs. That's what I usually do when I have eggs, and as you can see they have these nice bright orange yellow yolks because the chickens are nice and healthy. And then I just mixed those up until they were nice and scrambled, and then it's time to get our pan ready. So I'm going to be using some local pastured lard here that I processed myself. And if you're thinking, why is this dietitian using lard? That doesn't make sense. Isn't lard super bad for you? I actually have a video on that, so I'll link it for you if you want to learn more. But I heated that over medium heat, and then I'm just pouring the eggs in here so they can get in there and start cooking. And then from here I like to add a little salt, so I'm getting some Himalayan pink salt here and just sprinkling that in on top of my eggs. And then I also like to use some black pepper, and I cook my eggs to be a pancake shape. You'll see what I mean in a second, but I'm just going to season them and let this side cook and set up. And then once you can see the edges are getting nice and set up here, and there really isn't a lot of liquidy stuff except maybe a little bit in the middle, that's when it's time to go ahead and flip them. So I like to run my spatula around the edge here just to make sure nothing is sticking, and then kind of wiggle it under there, get it nice and set up, and then do a little tilt to let any wet egg fall off and then flip it. And now it can cook on that side, and then from here I also go in and turn the heat off so it can just finish cooking. While that's finishing up, I have some tomatoes here. These are Jean Filmets from my garden. They're a nice medium-sized tomato, and I'm going to slice those up and then dice them so that I can have those as a nice topping for my eggs. So I've got all of those all chopped up and the eggs are done. So we're just gonna make sure they're not stuck and then go ahead and do a little flip, and they come right out the pan, and then they can go right there on the plate, and they fit perfect. And as you can see, it's just this nice little egg pancake. It's nicely brown, and it's awesome. So then from here, I like to add some hot sauce, a little Frank's because I love hot sauce. And here I'm putting some on, but really I ran out, so I went ahead and got another one. And I put some more on because I like a lot of hot sauce on my eggs. And then I can just spread that out so it's kind of covering the whole little egg pancake shape thing we got going on here. Add on our tomatoes to top it off, and then I also wanted to have some fruit with that, so this is some melon from the garden, and it's really cool because it's kind of orangey at the middle, but it fades into green at the edges, and it's really good. Then for a little snack, I decided that I wanted a cup of coffee, so this is from Reanimator Coffee Roasters. This is the first time I've actually gotten coffee from them, and it's National Coffee Day when I'm posting this, so that's exciting. These are the flavors that are supposed to be in there. I'm not a coffee expert. I don't know if it tastes like that, but that's what it's supposed to taste like. And this is maple syrup just to sweeten it up. That's my go-to sweetener for my coffee. Giving that a little stir, mixing it in there, and then also a little whole milk from grass-fed cows to lighten it up just a little bit. And then it's lunchtime, and I decided to have a sandwich for lunch, toasted my bread. Lou was very interested in that situation, apparently. And I'm making BLTs. So this is a little homemade mayo replacement that I like to make, a mayo alternative, I guess. Just because making regular mayo is really hard, and this version is way easier. So if you want that recipe, I will link that for you. And then I've got some pastured bacon here from a local farm, and I'm just breaking that up and kind of laying it on so it's kind of even across the bread and get it all nice settled in there. And then this is another tomato from the garden. It's called a Kellogg's Breakfast. It's a nice orange tomato. And I went ahead and sliced that up, added those slices on top of the sandwich, and then I'm adding some basil because instead of adding lettuce to my BLTs, I actually like to make BBTs because basil is super flavorful and we have a ton of it in the garden right now. And then I'm just adding on my top. And I like to cut mine into triangles because I think that's fun. And I went ahead and moved that over, got my plate out, transferred that over to the plate that I'm going to eat off of, and then we have to go ahead and add on our veggies. So I'm having some pickled cucumbers. This cucumber is also from the garden. As you can tell, we have a lot of stuff growing out there, and it's just a cucumber sliced up with a little bit of vinegar sitting out in the fridge to make some quick pickles. And Lou is coming to say hi again, and now she's rubbing her face on the camera because that's what kitties do when you're trying to film stuff. So this is the finished plate. We've got the cucumbers there, and then there's the inside of the BBT, all those layers of deliciousness just hanging out there. And then I also wanted some fruit, so these are muscadine grapes that I picked up at the farmer's market. You can only really get them this time of year, and they are really, really good. So I always buy a lot of them when they are around. Then for dinner, I decided to make one of my favorite recipes from one of my favorite cookbooks. And this is really nice because it's just a mix of all kinds of veggies stewed together in one pot. So there's summer squash in there, potatoes, green beans, carrots, onions, garlic, all kinds of delicious stuff. There's sage and a nice basil sauce that goes over the top. So it's just a really easy but flavorful combo of veggies, and I really like it.
So that's what a day of eating in September looks like for me. And as far as that cookbook that I mentioned, it is this one, Local Flavors by Deborah Madison. And Deborah Madison overall, I just think does a great job of writing recipes that don't have a lot of crazy ingredients in them, but that really highlight and enhance the flavors of vegetables and make them taste amazing, which vegetables should taste amazing. And if your vegetables taste gross, then you should get hooked up with Deborah Madison. She has a few different books. I have another one actually there back on my bookshelf, which is her Vegetarian Cooking for Everyone, which is kind of like an encyclopedia of vegetables. But this one that I used for that particular recipe at the end there is Local Flavors. It's really, really good because it is broken up seasonally. So it has things in there. It's just really cool because a lot of times if I go to the farmer's market and have a mix of different vegetables, I can go in this book and just like look up those vegetables and there will be a recipe that uses them because it's so seasonally based that it's not just like, oh, tomatoes in summer. It's like, no, right at that shoulder between like spring and summer when you have some of the spring stuff that's right there at the end, but some of the early summer stuff coming in, like she does such a great job of like seeing the, I guess the spectrum or the range of things as they fluctuate throughout the seasons, which I think is really helpful because just saying tomatoes are in summer, it's like, well, duh, okay, that's not anything groundbreaking. So really love this book. I'll link this book as well as the other one that I have below the video if you want to check them out and you're interested in them. I just think it's a really, really great resource. I will say one critique of this book, I don't love the organization of it. I don't think it's really easy to find stuff as far as just flipping through. Sometimes I'm not sure which section it should be in, the way it's broken up. But the index is really good. So if I ever have trouble finding a recipe, usually what I do is I have a specific vegetable in mind and then I'll just go to the index and find the recipes that use that. And that's kind of the way that I navigate it. And let me know in the comments what kinds of foods and recipes you're eating this time of year because I always love to hear about your culinary adventures. And I hope you liked the video. If you are new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and healthy recipes, make sure that you subscribe because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you're loving the free info here but you're finding that you need something more personalized, don't forget that I do offer one-on-one nutrition coaching and counseling. So if you're interested in that, just let me know and we can get that set up for you. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day and I'll talk to you next time.